Re-Animator, Episode 10, Death is Not the End, Season Finale, Opening Scene, Interior, Miskatonic University Catacombs, Night. The catacombs are crumbling, the air thick with dust. West and Dan move cautiously through the narrow passageways, their footsteps echoing. At the end of the cavernous space, a massive, otherworldly gateway pulses with an ominous energy. Hill stands in front of it, chanting in an ancient tongue, his eyes glowing with unnatural power. West, you can't open it, Hill. You don't know what you're dealing with. Hill, grinning, I know exactly what I'm doing. And once this gate opens, you'll see how small your vision was, West. Dan, nervously, we have to stop him, West. Before it's too late. West nods, ready for the fight. The undead, Hill's loyal creations, rise from the shadows, filling the catacombs. Chaos erupts as West and Dan are forced into a brutal battle, trying to push their way toward Hill. Act 1, the final battle. West and Dan struggle against Hill's forces, hacking and slashing their way through the reanimated corpses. Despite their best efforts, the gateway grows stronger, its pulsation shaking the entire underground structure. West, we need to get to Hill before it's too late. Dan nods, but is distracted by the screeching undead surrounding them. In the midst of the chaos, Hill continues his chant, his voice growing louder. As Dan charges forward, a massive stone slab falls, separating West from him. The two are now cut off. Hill, mocking, it's over, West. You failed. In a desperate act, West charges toward Hill, slamming into him, causing them both to stagger. Hill's control over the undead grows stronger, as the gateway flashes brighter. At the height of the struggle, the very foundation of the catacombs begins to collapse. Act 2, the collapse of the lab. The catacombs shake violently, the walls cracking and rubble falling from above. West and Hill continue their struggle, but the very ground beneath them trembles, and the gateway begins to suck in everything around it. Hill, you can't stop what's already begun. I will control life and death. In one final, catastrophic move, West shoves Hill into the pulsating gateway, just as a massive stone pillar crashes down, trapping West underneath. The gateway swells to an almost unbearable size before collapsing into nothingness. The catacombs fall apart entirely, bringing the scene to a horrifying silence. Act 3, aftermath. Amidst the debris, Dan emerges from the rubble, bloodied and battered, calling out for West. Dan, West! Where are you? He digs frantically through the ruins, calling out his name. The dust is thick, and there's no sign of life, only the crushed remains of the catacombs and the aftermath of the destruction. Dan, panting, defeated, no. West, for a moment, Dan hesitates, his hand hovering over his chest as though he can feel the weight of West's secret inside him, the secret of reanimation. Dan, I can't keep running. I have to face this, face what we've done. Dan stands, looking out over the wreckage, alone. The gateway has vanished, but the consequences of West's work are far from over. Post-credit scene, interior, abandoned laboratory, night. The camera pans across the ruins of the laboratory, still in ruins, as a faint twitch moves across West's hand. The camera lingers on his still body, covered in dust and debris. A faint shudder runs through his chest as the residue of his serum pulses in his veins. Slowly, West's fingers move, then another part of his body twitches. His eyes snap open, gleaming with the familiar madness. West, weakly but determined, this isn't the end. The camera cuts to black, leaving the mystery of his return hanging in the air. End of Season 1. Next season tease. The return of West sets the stage for even darker mysteries, as the line between life and death continues to blur. The questions around the gateway, Hill's true plans, and West's resurrection will ignite new horrors and temptations for Dan and those he cares about. The world may not yet be ready for what is to come,